You are about to see the benchmark of the NRLW, the Brisbane Broncos, captained by Ali Brigginshaw, trying to maintain their dominance in this competition at a soggy WIN Stadium in Wollongong. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic Sunday on Fox League. I'm Matt Russell, alongside a pioneer of Women's Rugby League in Australia, a lady who has her name on the Illawarra Steelers Walk of Fame, who knows WIN Stadium very well. Tasha Gar, we're looking at the Newcastle Knights enter the arena and their lineup on screen as well.
Thanks, Matt. We're up for another Super Sunday with a triple header here at WIN Stadium. 15 tries over 3 amazing, very physical games last week. I can't wait to see what today unfolds now that round 1 is done and the cobwebs blown off.
There's the halfback, Tallulah Tillett. Won't she face an important role? Because as you look at the lineup, no Caitlin Johnston. The front rower forced out with an elbow injury. Phoebe Desmond, another forward who came off the bench last week, out as well because of COVID. So Matua Federica comes in as starting prop, and Toru Arakua onto the bench. Two very experienced forwards in their own right, but they have a challenge today to contain the Brisbane Broncos, who were outstanding last week, 20-4 winners against the Sydney Roosters, bolstered by 4 players who made the team of the week and bolstered by a forward pack that I think set the standard for the other teams to match in coming weeks.
Yeah, it sure does, but it does show the depth of talent that the NRLW now have, and they've replaced the Knights have replaced with 2 international, Kiwi international players in the forward pack.
And Federica and Arakua underway at WIN Stadium, round 2 NRLW, after last week lit up the television screens with some outstanding physicality. The form was fantastic given the absence of so much rugby league for these girls over the last 2 years. And setting the tone with the first run of the day, a lady who set the record for most runs in an NRLW game last week, Millie Boyle, the first carry, backed up by her other front rower, Chelsea Lenarduzzi. And here's a kick early in the tackle count. After the second tackle, well, there's some enterprise from the Brisbane Broncos.
I love an early kick. And what's more important is the great chase. If you kick early, the wingers haven't dropped. You can isolate the fullback, but that's great field possession that they're in now.
Yeah, well, we're not talking 40-20 in NRLW. We talk 40-30, and they've delivered in the opening minute, the Broncos. So a really confident start, as you'd expect from a club that has won 12 of its 13 games in this competition. And that first set coming off their own line suddenly turns into a second set attacking Newcastle's line. So the Broncos looking to land the first blow here. Boyle, nearly 200 run metres last week, but there's a drop there, and that 40-30, unfortunately for Millie and the Broncos, amounts to naught.
Yeah, it's a rare error there from Millie. She, as you said, outstanding game last week, breaking all run records. Just a little bobble there.
Yeah, 179 run metres, plenty of carries. The other front rower, Chelsea Lenarduzzi, similarly, very busy, more than 100 run metres, 5 tackle busts, 5 offloads. So they certainly provided the platform for the Broncos, but right now they turn to defence as Newcastle look to enter the opposition half. And it's a carry for Netta Nuasala. Darcy McDonald is sidelined for us. Darcy, it's a damp old day in the Gong.
Yes, it is, Maddie. Good afternoon to you and Tasha. It was looking like we were in for some wet weather footy today, but I can tell you the rain has eased off. It completely stopped as the girls came out for warm-up, and it still hasn't come back down, so good signs ahead. The playing surface is actually in pretty good nick and not too slippery, but we do have a breeze, a heavy breeze in the backs of the Broncos, so we'll see if they can capitalise off that early.
Strong run from Shante Polka. Thank you, Darcy. Backed up by Georgia Page. Now back to the middle of the field for the kick. It's a wobbly old kick. Edwards-Bruce couldn't take it. They knock it on and they'll give the ball to the Brisbane Broncos.
Well, the rain gods were good to us in Newcastle last week. They stopped for all 3 games. I hope it's the same situation as the Broncos do the hard carries to bring it out.
Some good signs from Newcastle in terms of their go forward with their first set. Just the back end of the set letting them down. A wobbly kick that couldn't be taken. So execution improvement will be the early aim for the Knights. As Boyle lines up again. sole New South Wales rep in this Brisbane lineup. One of 4 Broncos to make the team of the week, along with Amber Hall, Taryn Aiken and Emily Bass. The 2-try hero on a wing for the Broncos in round 1.
And let's not forget, Emily Bass on debut has made the NRLW team of the week.
What a week for the 23-year-old. Now they have a whistle in their favour. Casey Badger in charge of this one, assisted by the review official Matt Noyen. Just a little high from Federica. Maitua Federica helping the Broncos win the competition in 2018 and the Dragons make the grand final in 2019. Good to see Maitua Federica back in NRLW now with a Knights jersey on. Here's the Broncos through Amber Hall. 3 tackle busts, 4 offloads for Amber last week. All very messy in the ruck. Brown eventually bounces back to her feet, goes to Leonard Dootsy. Backwards is the ruling from referee Badger, as it's picked up by Talisha Harded. On the short side here, Brigginshaw. Tamika Upton gets the ball away. Bass for the corner. Emily Bass bounces in. After 2 tries last week, has she got the first this afternoon? Her teammates think so.
No try. Can you just confirm that?
I think she's gone over the sideline there before planting that ball down, but how amazing if she did score first up here today.
Watch that foot slide into touch there before the ball is grounded. You'd expect Matt Noyen to rule this one away.
I think that's right, Matt. That's her right foot on the line, and we all know on the line is out, and I'm not sure.
Just looking to see if the ball is grounded prior to the foot going out. Okay.
Well, the foot can be over the line and elevated and not be out, but it looks to me like she's touched the line, and that angle
The
shows
Brisbane
it
winger's
well.
foot has gone out prior to the ball being grounded. We have a decision.
But still, Tasha Gale, ominous signs, because Tamika Upton, 2 try assists last week. Emily Bass, 2 tries last week, and there was that combination again right there.
Exactly, and I'm pretty sure Casey Bromelo would have been doing his homework to watch that right-hand side.
Not a lot of room to work with, and she went close, just the blue boots brushing the white line in the process.
She sure does, and Tamika Upton, the try machine that she is, she didn't score last week, but it's no surprise that she topped the try assists unselfishly.
She leads the NRLW all-time in terms of tries scored. 6 over 3 and a bit years of this premiership. Expanding this year to 6 teams, the regular season over 5 weeks, then finals. You throw in Origin down the track, then another NRLW season at the end of the year, and a World Cup. What a year for Women's Rugby League. There must be many excited players across your landscape, Tasha Gale.
Yeah, they sure are excited. It's a whopping year, but you can just see there the experience of Crystal Walter, who's Kiwi Ferns captain now, you know, mixing it up with her forwards that are also internationals, and so that combination seems to be playing out well.
And this is going to be the trick for Newcastle. The ball security, as nominated by Casey Bromelo pre-game as the key element. They were good last week, only 9 errors. That was fewest across round 1. They need to be even better against the might of Brisbane.
They do. They've got to watch their set completions. I don't think Casey would have been too happy with their set completion rate, and against the Broncos, you just cannot afford not to complete your sets.
So Brisbane, big round 1 winners against the Roosters, 20-4. They led 10-0 at half-time. Newcastle pipped by Parramatta, 13-12, as they arrived in NRLW. But right now there's a problem for Brisbane as well. So errors playing a part in the first 7 minutes here. And Tamika Upton doesn't always make a lot of them. As we look at it again in replay, just trying to push the pass and throwing it forward. It was Autumn Rain Stevens applying the defensive pressure, the Newcastle 5'8", and getting the results.
Come on, get your head in. You got 5 seconds, get your head down.
Made her debut as well last week, Stevens.
Great to see the debutantes, many of them coming through the Tasha Gale Cup, which honours your services to rugby league, Tasha.
It's absolutely amazing, Matt, how many players have come through the pathway system showing quality football. And there's more to come, Matt. I'm out there watching it each weekend. There's more talent knocking on the door.
Your Instagram posts feature the young rising talent week in, week out. We love that support as Newcastle go forward. Netta Nuasala. But there's another whistle, another error, and these teams just can't complete at the moment.
And Nuasala does not agree with that call. I've been impressed with her start to the game, Matt. That's unfortunate.
In the middle. Clock is on.
Netta Nuasala arguing the point. She said she threw it backwards, but it was lost forward into the arms of Amber Hall in the eyes of Casey Badger, the referee. So it's touched by a player in front of you. It's ruled knock on, and Brisbane get more ball. Who's going to be the first to settle and get through their sets in this game? Brilliant start with a 40-30 from Brisbane, and right here, we're not going to see Brisbane get to a kick either.
Matt, I was just about to say my money's on Brisbane to complete the set, and just as we said it, saw a little bobble there, little error. Very unlike the Broncos, but I put that down to the intensity of the forwards from the Knights, putting the pressure on them.
Well, Newcastle are 1 of 3 on the completions front, and Brisbane 2 of 6, so both 33%. That will need to climb dramatically and quickly. Here's Stevens. Hearing a whistle in her favour. A penalty to the Knights, so they can really build a platform here. Wouldn't the first try be a confidence boost for Newcastle? Pipped by that Maddie Studden field goal last week. And bursting through the line, Nuasala with the leg drive taking her even closer. There were 4-5 Brisbane defenders required. In great position here. Federica. You can see how close she is. The experienced front rower, Rorta at dummy half. Goes to Nuasala, who tries to barge her way over and will go very close. Held up by Millie Boyle.
Tackle 3. Take it out 10.
Great defence there. The Broncos are scrambling. You saw Tasman Gray put a body underneath so that Nuasala was unable to plant that ball down. But I tell you what, Matt, the Knights are looking dangerous.
Now it's Georgia Page. In her second season of NRLW, Polkor, long, Tillett, and crunched Romy Teitzel. Stopped on the spot, but gets the arm away. It goes to Tillett again. Room here for the Knights. Over they go through Caitlin Vaha-Kolo.
And what a start for the Newcastle Knights. We just said that they were looking pretty dangerous. It's slippery conditions out there. They managed to get it out through their hands. I think we can see from their captain a great offload here, which allows the overlap. As she turns over to Tillett, and Vaha-Kolo, she's got great pace, and she's in for the try on the corner.
Skidding in behind and playing a very significant role, Jamie Frazard. Look at Teitzel struggling to create the offload. Tillett good. There's Frazard playing her role perfectly, and Caitlin Vaha-Kolo. What is it, 200,000 social media followers? There's some content for them.
She is absolutely amazing on social media.
Uh-oh. So we're going to check the obstruction here. This normally isn't a good sign. It's been looked at in the bunker.
The ball is caught on the outside. The player then runs behind her own lead runner and causes a defensive decision to be made. We have a decision.
So Caitlin will be denied here.
Matt, that is so unfortunate. We saw a few tries denied last week for that very same thing.
Well, I think the correct audio there should have been receive the ball on the inside of the lead runner there and then runs behind, and you can see the indecision in the defence as a result. So, Tasha Gale, through your expert eyes, are you happy enough with that ruling?
No, I'm not. I think they will deny it, but a little bit of indecision there. It's just disappointing.
When you're ready.
So, a denial for Newcastle. Now, we're no stranger to that last weekend. Brisbane survive. We stay 0-0. Just over 10 minutes gone in his first of 3 NRLW games this Sunday. The ball bounces kindly for Chelsea Lenarduzzi.
And Matt, that is rare. You're seeing a bit of nerves, I think, creep into the Broncos players, and that is brought upon by the intensity of the Newcastle Knights. I'm really liking it.
You've answered the question I was about to ask. Why would a team that has won the 3 premierships so far and started so brilliantly last week be nervous, given that 11 of their 12 wins, that's from 13 games, remember, have been by double-figure points? They should be oozing confidence given their first-round performance.
I think the answer to their nerves are in Federica and Nuasala.
The Kiwi front rowers called in to replace Caitlin Johnston and Phoebe Desmond, who were very good last week for the Knights. Lenarduzzi dummies to Boyle and is rocked in some heavy contact that came from one of the ladies we were talking about, Federica. In that tackle with Crystal Rorter, Tasha.
Yeah, and it's such a shame that we're missing Phoebe Desmond and Caitlin Johnson. They were both fantastic for the Knights last week. But it's good for Casey Bromelo and the Knights that they've found some forwards that can go forward to replace them.
So Brisbane on the attack through Aiken. Stopped by Frazard, along with Tallulah Tillett. Middle of the ground, it's where this player does so much good work, Millie Boyle. Brown hears the whistle, they get the penalty.
You've gone through the ruck there.
Newcastle crowding the ruck, and you can't tap and go inside the opposition 10, so back Millie Boyle goes, and Brisbane can set up a play here. Brown through Brigginshaw. Lenarduzzi.
Did well to wrap her up then.
Brown goes to Millie Boyle, just try stopping Millie from there. Her big running metres last week, backed up with a try in week 2.
Millie Boyle is on fire. She's just amazing. It's under the post. That's going to be a 6-pointer. You see a strong run from Lenarduzzi there to lay the platform. Good service from Lauren Brown, and Millie just loves it under the post.
So a try scorer last week, a try scorer this week. Millie Boyle, a great stats line. And what a target she is, along with Chelsea Lenarduzzi, not to mention Harden and Hall close to the opposition line.
Absolutely, and Edwards-Bruce there for the Knights did everything she can to stop her, but Millie Boyle on the boil can almost be unstoppable.
You know, when it comes to a discussion about the best player in the world right now in the women's game, Brisbane have a couple of contenders, don't they? Tamika Upton, Millie Boyle. You jump over to Parramatta, where there's a contender you'd like to nominate as well. There are some players in that field when it comes to that discussion.
There sure are, and it's great for the game. But we saw all the fullbacks last week play outstanding footy. So, yeah, I think it's a strong school of thought that Tamika Upton may be bandied around as the best player. But, hey, we're forgetting about Ali Brigginshaw, last year's Dally M, so reigning best player in the NRLW.
Both Eddie Welsh, who was startling last week. I love watching her run the ball back, and we'll see her later on game 3 today. 6-0 Brisbane, NRL 360. It's back tomorrow night, Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Braithen Astor in the chair, alongside Paul Kent, Phil Rothfield, James Hooper. They'll set up the season. And there's the kickoff from Newcastle, knocked on by the Knights. So they went short kickoff. Almost got the result.
No, if it's on the 20, it's got to be on that side.
You're right, Matt.
Yep,
Very
20,
brave. I wouldn't have expected that so early.
No, it's already gone.
A short kick-off from the Knights, and unfortunately they've come up with a little knock-on.
The Roosters arriving at Wynn Stadium. We'll see them next against the Titans. The Roosters learning all about Brisbane's might last week when beaten 20-4. And then St George Illawarra against Parramatta, the final game this afternoon. This is Talisha Harden. Bronco, a Rooster. And now the last 2 years as a Bronco. Lenarduzzi. Just backing away upfield, so strong on her feet. Dragging multiple defenders each time she carries the ball. Aiken to Hall. Amber keeps possession. 15 minutes gone in this first half as Aiken goes to Amy Turner. A Rugby 7 star, which so many of the NRLW players have in their background. Resume in Rugby Sevens before Brown goes high, very high above Wynn Stadium. Here's a contest for the ball, taken by Katie Green at Newcastle. A good take under pressure.
Katie Green made her debut last week as well, but very confident taking that ball. And I think it's just, that's tough with the Broncos. Look, Lauren Brown, pinpoint kick there, puts pressure on her. And who do you know? Who do you defend there, Matt? Who do you put pressure on? Like, is it Aiken, Brigginshaw or Brown that's going to kick?
Yeah, good point. Just looking through this Brisbane backline, so much talent and so little change in the history of the NRLW. They've been able to keep this team together remarkably well, adding the likes of Millie Boyle from New South Wales. She's been a constant as well for the Broncos. Here they are in great position, looking for their second try. Who's the target during this set? This is Charlotte Scanlon onto the fields. Didn't miss a tackle last week, Charlotte, but right now, going back to her haunches after a carry. Brigginshaw, look at this ball, beautiful from Tamika Upton, who gets it back, goes in. Brisbane have gone back-to-back, working with her centres, Tamika Upton. What an attacking dynamo.
We just mentioned that she didn't score last week, so there she goes. Well-deserved try, but you saw here, and it happened so many times last week, you're in danger when Chelsea Lenarduzzi actually turns her back to the defence to pick up those strike players. And then great ball and offload to Upton.
Shanae Sazolka providing that ball back to the player who gave it to her, hitting the line hard and backing up Tamika Upton.
Well, the likes of Chelsea Lenarduzzi, to be able to turn her back to the defence, you can't do that unless you're getting great service. A little bit towards too high, too low, you get the defence up there, and Chelsea cannot afford to do that. Turns her back, picks up Brigginshaw, out to Upton, who has fabulous pass selection, and then, of course, backs up again, and Sazolka can ditch off. So Upton in for another try.
That's the conversion attempt for Lauren Brown. She was 2 from 4 last week, 2 from 2 this afternoon. It's just one element of the game where the improvement has been so dramatic. Look at the try again, Darcy McDonald. Fantastic execution. Shanae Sazolka providing for Tamika Upton.
Well, Tamika Upton, she can set up tries and she can score tries. And Maddie and Tasha, you were having the conversation earlier about whether she is the best player in the world. Well, her Indigenous All-Stars coach, Ben Jeffries, definitely believes it. After she carved up in that clash last month, he dubbed her the best player in the world.
And she leads a crack field in terms of most tries in the NRLW, to clear at that chasing trio. Here's Charlotte Scanlon just onto the field. That was her first carry. You could see the left knee buckle awkwardly. Let's see if she can continue on in this game. Yeah, tough start.
The rain gods, Matt, they haven't held off. You can tell it's coming down pretty thick and fast out there. So ball security, completion of your sets, a priority.
And my mistake, it's Caitlin Phillips, the Bronco who was injured. She came into that starting lock forward role for Nikita Sau. Broncos losing Julia Robinson to a cheekbone issue after round 1, and Nikita Sau. So Caitlin Phillips called from the bench into that starting role. Let's hope she's okay to continue on in this game. Caitlin Phillips, her 4th NRLW game this afternoon.
Well, there you see the two great forwards of the Brisbane Broncos. First 3 hit-ups have gone Boyle, Lenarduzzi, Boyle.
Sazolka. Now Brown for Lenarduzzi. She shows it to Boyle and just marches forward with the offload. Little bobble in the hands of Lauren Brown, but she makes the catch.
You can see Kira Dibb hitting the field now, and she's involved in the first tackle straight up, resulting in a little bobble.
Aiken gets the kick away. It looked like it was going out on the full. I think it's fallen in just in time.
I think it has. I think you're right, Matt. It did look like it was going out on the full, but as we can see on the replay here, ooh.
Not the case. So out on the full, an error from the Brisbane Broncos. 12-0 leaders as the rain intensifies in Wollongong. Crossing halfway, it's Bobby Law. Now Dib. She's played as a Rooster, she's played as a Warrior. Now a Knight. The Gillaroo and New South Wales representative. Here's Charlotte Scanlon. Driven backwards in the tackle by Hall. And illegally, says Casey Badger.
Amber Hall is very good at the strip and normally can get away with it. Not sure what the illegality was with that tackle, or whether it was a hand in for the ball or a little bit contact too high.
Just too long on the tackle player, I think, Tasha. They wanted Amber off the tackle earlier than she released. So Newcastle through Dib in good position, but they need to capitalise. Errors cruelled them early. Here they are flooding the short side, and it's Stevens. Stevens still going. Forced towards the sideline. Through the legs of Teitzel. And they lose ground with that play. All very messy for the Knights.
It's not where they wanted to be on the fourth.
Manzelman was the player forced to clean up. Now Scanlon again. Crunched by Boyle in conjunction with Hall. So Manzelman or Scanlon slow back to her feet. Now Tallulah Tillett puts it in the air. Pressure here on Upton, who makes the catch and gets the penalty.
Jamie Prasad, always keen. Tiny little body, but very strong and aggressive in a play. Just coming a bit hard and fast there at Upton, who takes the ball confidently but drops very, very quickly, and Jamie Prasad is called out there just for going too high on Upton.
We're loving the start to NRLW. This time next week we'll be well into the opening round of the NRL. It starts on Thursday night. Penrith, the premiers, against the Sea Eagles. Catch it all on Fox League. Penrith beginning their title defence. Tom Trebojevic, the Dally M Player of the Year, beginning his quest to go back-to-back. What a way to open the season.
Turbo Tom at his best. Last year, amazing.
Brown sends it towards Brigginshaw, who gets the kick away, driving it away from the fullback for Newcastle, Romy Teitzel, and it rolls well for Brisbane. What a kick and a chase. A great result to pin Newcastle inside their own 10. But this might be the end of the day for Caitlin Phillips, sadly, hobbling towards the sideline.
Yeah, I hope not, but she's had a bit of attention to her. That's the second time, and doesn't look like she'll be returning. But we're about to see Hayley Maddock come on for her NRLW debut.
Now, what a thrill. The family and friends of Hayley Maddock, not at least the player herself, realising her NRLW dream. On a wing for Brisbane. Gigi Mosby also making her debut. So there are the two debutantes for Brisbane. And what a thrill for them this afternoon. No doubt so much hard work going on to be there today with Brisbane right on the attack. Brigginshaw. Now it's Hall. And one of those debutantes, Hajija Mosby, there sweating on an offload. Wouldn't she love to go in on debut? Aiken, Brown, Lenarduzzi standing, looking to keep that offload count climbing. Throwing the defence out of the road. And it took the strength of Autumn Rain Stevens to force her to ground. Aiken across ground. Here's Hall straightening. Grabbed by Scanlon. She made sure there was no offload. Brown on the charge here. Lenarduzzi trying to do what Millie Boyle did earlier in the game. Good goal line defence from the Knights, forcing Brisbane back. Now they'll have a crack through Amber Hall where they've put it down. So take a bow, Newcastle, standing strong on your own line.
Absolutely marvellous defence there by the Knights. Stevens, amazing. Put Lenadusi down to the ground by herself. Not often you're going to see a number 6 do that.
After the first line of defence had been flung out of the road.
Newcastle need to get out of this territory now. They need to get a good kick on at the end of this sequence.
Well, let's hope that defensive effort gives them some confidence. And the last couple of runs have certainly suggested that it should.
Okay, they can get a bit of a piggyback out of their half this time. So looking good for the Knights.
Toru Arakua, it was her stubborn run that drew the penalty. As we mentioned, her and Federica called into the lineup, but boasting plenty of experience in the top level of the women's game. Tillett goes on to her edge forward. Rangi Marie Edwards-Bruce.
Chelsea, right shoulder.
Arakua again. Look at her go. Toru Arakua thundering down WIN Stadium. That might be pulled back. In fact, it'll be penalised. Passing after the tackle is complete.
Matt, just a rush of blood there. You saw how pumped she was. Great run. It's just experience. It's just discipline. Just go to ground, play the ball. Don't force that pass.
That's not easy to do. Steamrolling Chelsea Lenadusi. But Arakua all over the top of her. And then, probably because of the adrenaline pumping through her body, just pushing the play and popping a pass she shouldn't have. Darcy McDonald sideline.
Just an update on Caitlin Phillips. It's a left knee injury. She's iced up and unfortunately her day is done.
Yeah, unfortunate for Caitlin. Called in after coming off the bench last week. We saw that tackle that caused the problem. She bravely battled on, Caitlin, but he's done for the day. The knee on ice. Let's hope she can get back next week. Next week, the Knights at the SCG against the Roosters. So, famous venue. It'll be a big day for those two teams. NRLW outfits, Sydney and the Knights. Upton goes to Brigginshaw, who completes the set, pumping it high. It's an awkward kick to catch over the head of Teitzel, and then it goes dead. So the bounce beats Brisbane, but boy, it asked some questions.
It certainly did. The height that Ali Brigginshaw got off that boot there. Look, if there was a roof on that stadium, it would have hit it, Matt.
You know, they announced this week, Wollongong City Council plans and hopes to redevelop WIN Stadium, WIN Entertainment Centre, the adjacent training field. I don't know whether those plans included a roof, but there's an idea, Tasha Gale. You've got your name on the Steelers Club Walk of Fame. Let's put a roof on and call it the Tasha Gale roof.
Oh, I think that might be stretching things just a little, Matt.
Run metres, first half already, Millie Boyle, up over 105 run metres. She set the record by a forward last week, 179. She's on target to blow past that this week.
She sure is. She's outstanding, Millie Boyle, and she's just having a great couple of weeks.
Here's Arakua. Now, Scanlon, plenty of purpose in that run. She round up.
Manselman did well to get the pass out there. She was well wrapped up.
Here's Rangi Marie Edwards-Bruce. Looking for their first try, Newcastle. Dibb showing it once, now giving it for Stevens. Pulled backwards in the tackle. Brigginshaw strong.
The classic Dibb dummy.
Oh, Manselman's pass has been put down by Arakua, who's given us a little bit of everything since coming on.
Yeah, she very, very exciting player. Great meters when she runs. Unfortunately, she's just got to get those couple of errors out of the game because they are costly. It's 12-0 down, the Knights, and they've been close a couple of times. They've been over the line once, but denied.
Toru Arakua. Toru, as she's happy to be called.
In properly, Kira, arms around.
Some great runs.
Arms in. Lauren,
Conceding a penalty, coming up with an error there. And Brisbane with plenty of time to build on this lead. Ajija Mosby leaving her wing to get involved. It's what you want to see from the 21-year-old who hasn't seen a lot of ball in this game. So on debut, no doubt a little nervous. That's encouraging to see her looking to get involved.
And it always helps, Matt, when you take that first hit, get that first tackle out of the way, then you feel like you're in the game.
Sarah Southia wearing 13, but coming off the bench. Coming on for Caitlin Phillips, who's out with that left knee injury. Alicia Harden. They really have stars across the field, the Broncos. As Brown kicks, was she just inside the 40? It's bouncing towards the sideline, but there in time, Romy Teitzel will deny Brisbane their second 40-30 of the game.
Yeah, she's always in great position, Romy Teitzel. Let's hope that she keeps that going for the entire game, because she will be put under the test by the Broncos, who've got amazing kicking arsenal.
So Bobby Law brings Newcastle forward. They made a nervous start to this game. Are you seeing signs they're settling? Are you encouraged by the way they're working themselves into the game despite being down 12-0?
I am really impressed with the way the Knights are going. As I said, just a couple of errors, and it's so costly against the Broncos.
Dib just rolls it off for Scanlon to straighten. Into Roxy Murdoch at the Broncos. Tallulah Tillett gets her kick away. It turns the wing around, and Emily Bass watches it roll into touch. Tallulah Tillett, 23-year-old in her first year of NRLW. Every time I say her name, I'm reminded of Tulsa Tollett, the former NRL player. There's another one out there as well, Caitlin Vaha-Kolo. Reminded me of Leslie Vainer-Kolo, the Volcano.
And Tillett made her debut last week, and she played outstanding footy in the All-Stars match as well. So interesting to watch her progress.
Good to see her fighting back from some significant injuries to reach the NRLW. On debut last week, a try assist, 6 runs for 50 metres, so a very sound stats line on debut.
Now, interesting to see what happens here, Matt, in the last 5 minutes, because as we know, this year, the NRLW are going for 35-minute halves instead of 30-minute halves. So let's see if some fatigue does slip in.
Let's go, Lord!
Brigginshaw goes on for Murdoch. Murdoch was on debut last week. Now Aiken, long, she hits Amy Turner. Turner trying to position Mosby, but the defence hitches a ride quite literally. Emma Manzelmann desperate to stop the opposition centre. So 3 minutes left, back into this extended half. When I say extended, just ramming home what you mentioned a moment ago. What about the participants? Were they happy to see it go from 30 to 35? More rugby league?
I think so. Definitely as a spectator, more rugby league for us to watch. But the players, now that we've got that depth of talent, it gets the players some decent play off the bench as well.
So the competition expanding in multiple ways this year, welcoming Gold Coast, Parramatta and Newcastle as new teams. Warriors, of course, cut out because of COVID. It almost opened up for the Knights down this right wing.
And Vaha-Kolo very wisely saw that she could have been taken out, so swung it back inside.
Frezard receives the pass, and here's Newcastle going forward. And the offload from Arakua. Last play as Kira Dibb sends it high out towards the eastern sideline. And the whistle here goes to Brisbane. Offside, is it called against the Knights?
Yep, it is, and they made 47 metres by the 5th tackle there, the Knights, so they were getting themselves back down into some good territory. I just don't know about that kick.
On the 40, Newcastle.
So Brisbane improving their completion rate, which was dreadful early, to 65%, whereas the Knights still hovering around 50%. And even though that will be marked as a completion, the previous set, not a good completion. And here, as I mentioned those rates, I mocked the Broncos.
Yep, You put the mocker on them for sure, because that's Talisha Harden, one of the most experienced players in our game. And a rare error for her as well. But I keep going back to this, Matt. It's the dedication, it's the intensity that the Knights still bring right down to the last minute of this first half that forces the rare errors from the Broncos.
So some signs for Casey Bromlow to be positive at half-time. And he'll be even more so if they can land a blow in this final minute. Romy Teitzel gets the ball away for Bobby Law. An attacking threat on this left edge. Now they get the penalty. Tap and go. Good thinking, Bobby. She goes inside the 20. Time ticking away on them. They need as many tackles completed here as possible. Green through the hands of Page now. She sits it up for Scanlon, still going. Out to Vaha Kolo. Good tackle. It was Amy Turner.
Not quick, you were inside 10. Inside 10.
An explanation there from Casey Badger why the quick tap couldn't be taken. Last play of the first half, is it?
She's got to be outside.
Through Tillett, long, Teitzel. She kicks and hopes it will land in the lap of Tamika Upton at the back. She'll be tackled, and that will do us for the first 35 minutes. Brisbane defend their line despite the late pressure from Newcastle. It's the Broncos 12, the Knights 0. We have a whole lot more to come on what is a fantastic Sunday of NRLW. Back to the studio with all the halftime highlights after this.
Looking for a goal-scoring return. Here's Piscopo! Absolutely livens up the crowd here.
Get behind the Knicks.
Straight into the hands of Oliver Sale.
Yellow Fever is out in force. Catch the games against the Aussies each week live on Sky Sport.
Good awareness, good vision, good shot.
Isuzu Ute A-League. Tonight, Sky Sport 7 BN Sports.
We're going to eat a baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Bake-Off isn't normal, is it?
Bit childish, but you know.
Got a handshake.
Do you look a lot like Where's Wally?
Girls who are pickers wear big knickers.
Don't ask me, I have no idea.
What do you think it looks like?
All naked.
This is a family show, right? Is that 4.5 hours worth of work?
Well, it was for me.
Thursday, the Great British Bake Off. Prime.
The Breakers are back all season on Sky Sport.
Hoping that we live long enough to say we fly. Crushing all the walls, leaving what is wrong behind. 'Cause all we got is each other. Shoot to the stars.
The road to Qatar is on Sky Sport 7 BN Sports.
I want to build something special, but I need a partner.
Los Angeles Lakers select Magic Johnson.
With me, it's going to be exciting.
I don't know why basketball can't feel like that.
To me, Dr. Bus,
It's showtime!
it do.
Lexus presents Winning Time, March 15, Soho.
Get down with TLC's favourite family of 16.
Having multiples
is on another level, baby.
I am exhausted and tired.
It's a new season full of firsts.
I want to find a boyfriend.
And full of surprises.
I have a little suspicion of us being pregnant.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
Doubling Down with the Doricos starts Thursday, March 17 on TLC.
Hi, I'm Aisha and I play wing for the Hurricanes. Sky Super Rugby Alpiki is going to be next level because it gives women and girls something else to strive for, and it will bridge the gap between Farah Palmer and Black friends. What is awesome about the Hurricanes team is we're pretty diverse, and also the culture in our team. Top 3 things that I'm going to bring to Super Rugby are my speed, my energy, and loud mouth. Everyone will know that. My number one goal for this season is to be the best in my position.
Sky Broadband has arrived.
Yeah, but is it fast?
Yeah, it's fibre. It's Lycra Fast.
Ooh.
So it can handle all your entertainment needs.
Sky Sport has the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup.
Absolutely brilliant.
Live on Sky Sport.
Once a warrior, always a warrior. Join me and club legends for the untold stories. No cliches, just strong opinions and insiders' insight.
Only the Warriors can produce this.
Catch us Wednesday nights on Sky Sport 1 and also on demand.
Welcome back to the NRLW on Fox, where the reigning premiers ran in 2 unanswered tries over the Knights. They lead 12-0 at half-time. Sam Bremner and Joe Barrett in studio with you. And Joe, the Knights, they looked good early.
They really did, and even though this try that we're about to see wasn't allowed due to an obstruction, it still got them off to a really positive start, and I have no doubt that would have rattled the Broncos.
Yeah, I think what the rattling of the Broncos did come off that missed opportunity of the Knights scoring the try, but most teams that would let them affect them, Broncos just came back, stuck to what they always do right, and that's just grind, and then Millie Boyle over to score some points, and then later on with Tamika Upton setting up this beautiful try for herself, hits that short line, and then continues to support. And that's why the Broncos are, you know, ahead of the competition and have won for the last 3 years.
Joe, you spoke when Millie scored that try under the post, how frustrating it is for the Knights to watch her do it under there, because you feel like the kick is a guaranteed 2 points, and in this competition, as we're seeing, Broncos going up by 6, not by 4.
That's right, and I mean, even though Knights didn't score, they have to really work hard to find the try line on the wings. And when a team scores under the sticks defensively, you let your team down, and you never like it when you're the defending team. And it's such an advantage because 6 points to the Broncos really early in the game, you never want to give them that lead.
On the other side of the ball, Casey Romolo for the Knights, what's he going to be saying to his team at halftime?
I think it might be something along the lines of continuing to do what is working. I think the difference between the Broncos and the Knights in the first half was the Broncos would do one thing, it would work, they would gain metres, they would get field position, get to their kick. Just because they didn't score points doesn't mean you have to change what you just did. The Knights scored, it was disallowed, but then they started to do something different and try and have a crack in different ways. I think the message would be to continue to do what is right and what is working and just be patient, because I'm surprised with 12-0. I think that it could have been worse off. I mean, the Broncos have made 7 errors and 5 errors for the Knights. I think it could have been a bigger score. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this next half.
The Knights need to be first to score next, though, don't they, Joe?
Oh, absolutely. I think that will help their confidence, but they can close that gap. It's a tough afternoon, but they're still in the hunt if they can get in, win the ruck and score some points early.
Well, the Roosters are in action a little later for round 2 of this NRLW Telstra Premiership. Let's hear from one of their stars now, who's with Nico Pajarillo.
Well, Isabel, not the result that you guys wanted last week, but how has the team bounced back ahead of round 2?
Yeah, no, we've been really good. We've trained hard. I think obviously no one wants to lose round 1, but I think we've gone into training really determined, fixed what we needed to, and we're moved on to this week now.
What did Coach John Strange say needed to be fixed most urgently?
Just 1%ers, I think, holding the ball, those little things that we all take for granted out on the footy field. I think if we complete our sets and just do what we're good at, we could really blow this competition away.
Your opponents are a new team in the NRLW. What do you make of the Titans?
Yeah, they're strong. I think they're a little bit underdogs, but yeah, their middle pack's really strong. I think we've just got to be smart with them. But yeah, I'm really confident in our ability this game.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
That game to come a little later, but next it's the second half between the Knights and the Broncos. The Broncos lead 12-0 at the break. Let's see what the Knights have in store for us in the second half. And don't forget, netball, Suncorp Super Netball. It returns on March 26.
Big plays, big personalities. Fox Netball, your all-access pass to the world's best.
That. The place to watch the Players' Championship?
Right here, right here,
right here
on Sky Sport.
Unstoppable!
time to feel the power. Let's go. What a fight. It's the power of the Pacific. DHL Super Rugby Pacific, live on Sky Sport.
There's two kinds of people, Dad. The ones who have a B-bot and the ones who don't.
Hey, guys.
Oh, sorry, I'm in your shot.
Oh, I have a filter for that.
Really? You need a B-bot to have a social life?
Yeah, Dad, kind of.
I don't want you addicted to some device. Yeah, no.
What you want? Oh, Dad, you got me one.
Hi, Barney. I'm your best friend out of my box.
What are you doing?
Barney, your B-bot is like super weird.
I am Barney's B-bot. Will you come to my secret shed and like him?
No. Okay, Ron, a bunch of your code is missing. You're supposed to know everything about me. Hair, brown, height, 4'11".
5'11" would be better. Girls would not laugh at you.
Hey! Making friends is what he's for.
Friend request? Friend request.
If he can't do that, he's like literally pointless.
Whoa! Rose is pulling my head off! You can't pull his head off! We'll get in trouble!
Okay, I cannot pull his head off. I have no mega safety controls and stuff.
Copy him. Find that code.
Unlock.
I'd better look into that.
You think? I'm not leaving you behind. They will send you to the Crusher.
We'll go to the Crusher together.
No, crushing is not fun.
Not fun. Where is it?
Find the road.
We don't need anyone else. I currently have one friend.
That is sad and also tragic.
Run for it!
No problem. Are we having fun with me?
Hey, buddy, how's the B-bot?
Both of you, hands where I can see them.
Maybe turn it off and on again.
Step inside the animal kingdom and get lost in the wonder of their natural world. From Earth to the skies to the depths of the sea. Explore the lives of 6 incredible creatures in a special series of documentaries. The Natural World Collection starts Wednesday, March 9 on BBC Earth.
Here we go. ANZ Premiership Netball. Live, Sky Sport.
What a day. Simply remarkable. Oh, yes! Can you believe what you are seeing?
Six Nations, live on Sky Sport.
Panthers, Sea Eagles. Thursday, live, Sky Sport 4.
It's a rough old day in the Wollongong City Beach, right beside Wynn Stadium, where the Broncos went close to scoring early, finished with 2 tries, in fact, to lead 12-0 at half-time. This is game 1, round 2 of the NRL Women's Premiership. Matt Russell in commentary alongside Tasha Gale. There are 5 islands off the Wollongong coast. Tasha, I wouldn't have thought today was a day where I'd want to sail around them.
You sure wouldn't catch me out there today, Matt. I tell you that for nothing.
Yeah, that sort of sums it up, the day in Wollongong. Plenty of rain where ball handling will be a key. We saw both these teams struggle with it in the first half before they adjusted slightly. And Brisbane able to gather themselves. In fact, both teams finished completing 11 of 18. Millie Boyle, she was a try scorer in the first half, also led the run meters, 105 in her first stint, given she led all forwards in all history of NRLW last week with 179. She might well blow past that, Tasha.
She's certainly on target to do just that. She was a record breaker last week and looks to, with these great runs, and she's got a try as well in both games. There's one under the post. It's a Millie Boyle festival out there.
Yeah, ably assisted by Chelsea Lenarduzzi. She has 3 tackle busts, a couple of offloads. Then you've got Amber Hall just short of 100 run metres in the first half. So Millie Boyle, we'll look forward to seeing her second stint and whether she can break the record she set last week. Gloomy old day in Wollongong, but it's bright in terms of what we have in prospect, because after this game, the Sydney Roosters play the Titans newcomers to NRLW, then St George Illawarra against another new outfit, the Parramatta Eels. So the Titans just going through the final stages of their preparation, and hairstyling is a crucial part of that preparation.
It is a crucial, and that plait there that Steph Hancock has, you'll see that really very common it is throughout the girls. That and the odd false eyelashes, which I don't think you'll catch Steph Hancock in. But it's a very effective hairstyle and plaiting that keeps their hair in place with that.
So we should be talking about hits big enough to knock the false eyelashes off an NRLW player, because we've seen a few of them in the opening round and a bit as the Broncos return to the playing field. These teams are using the Wynn Entertainment Centre's dressing rooms to get changed, given we have 6 teams in Wollongong today. So they're making the long walk from the neighbouring basketball venue at the moment back to the playing surface of Wynn Stadium. But the Broncos, good in the first half without being great. They have a 12-0 lead. They'll look to improve on their completions. And Newcastle, you just feel they need to score a try to really settle, to really believe they can challenge Brisbane in the back end of this game.
Yeah, they sure do. They got over the line, and for all money, we thought it was a 4-pointer, but they were denied. But, Matt, it's good to see that there has been a couple of tries in this first half, because these are very difficult and slippery conditions. So it's good for footy that there's been a couple of tries allowed, and they've both gone the Broncos' way. So 12-0.
The rain started falling last night in Wollongong, and while it hasn't been as bad as last weekend, certainly providing greasy, tricky conditions. The likes of Hayley Maddock at Brisbane and Kira Dibb at Newcastle, Taryn Aitken wearing that number 6 jersey, and Amy Turner. Defensively, I can remember her making some solid tackles. Talisha Harden, part of this crack forward pack. Boyle, Brown, Lenarduzzi, Harden, Hoyle, and Caitlin Phillips started as lock today, but has been forced off with a knee injury in that first half. So Sarah Southia came on to replace her. Underway in the second half, 35 minutes ahead for Newcastle to fight their way back. It's problems here from the kickoff. It's been ruled knock on by the Knights.
Every coach will be pulling their hair out every time from the kickoff. Don't let it bounce. Don't let it bounce. And unfortunately, Stevens is paying that price there of letting that ball bounce. And look at that, Ali Brigginshaw right up in the face.
The appropriately named today, Autumn Rain Stevens, brought undone by the kickoff, and Brisbane, look at the position they find themselves in. Opening minute of the second half. 12-0 leaders, 2 tries to nil. Millie Boyle, Tamika Upton, their try scorers. They have a third here as Hayley Maddock runs the ball for the Broncos. Brown called by Southia. Brown sends it the same way. It's with Aitken. Now Upton. She goes to Turner. Numbers if Turner can get the ball away. But the defence did enough. And the winger goes unused. The debutant, Gija Mosby. This is Murdoch. Try scorer last week on debut, a real handful. The wife of Ben Murdoch, Masilla. At the Warriors, now Brigginshaw. Runs along the 10-metre line and hits Amber Hall. 3 defenders required. They have arrived at the last. Brigginshaw. And her ball was knocked on by Brisbane. I wondered whether Brigginshaw would grub her into the in-goal. Instead, she hit Murdoch. Not a bad option, but the hands let Murdoch down.
Yeah, they sure did. She was coming on. She was motoring towards this ball. Just see it goes, well, a little bit low there as well from Ali Brigginshaw, but certainly catchable.
it looked an even better option on replay if Roxy catches that ball. I think she scores.
Oh, it's a 4-pointer for sure.
The defence wasn't really aiming up to the challenge that was coming had Murdoch completed the catch. Darcy McDonald sideline, what was said at half-time?
Well, speaking of making the catches, Broncos coach Kelvin Wright, he wants to see the girls play with more discipline and just simply hold the ball. As for the Knights, Casey Bromelo, he wants the girls to start the half with a lot of energy. So we'll see how they go in these opening minutes.
Well, they can show some energy here with ball in hand. The Knights. It's Tallulah Tillett getting the pass away. Tillett again, kicks across field, out towards the wing of Emily Bass, who has some work to do to ground it in the in goal. There to ask some questions, Katie Green, who's won the race here?
It was a great kick there by Tillett. Very difficult the way it's throwing itself around there in the air. Emily Bass unable to hang on to it. It's a battle between Green and Bass. Who grounds it?
Bass comfortably. Well, comfortably if you're talking hundredths of a second, if I can put it that way. The replay made it look like she got there comfortably, but there was real pressure coming from Katie Green. And there's now Teitzel for the Knights. There's Manzelman at dummy half, and there's been an error. Well, it's the first half revisited for Newcastle. And quickly in to add her consolation, Arakua trying to keep the confidence of Emma Manzelman up and about.
She had a great game last week, Emma Manzelman, and she's doing some great work today, but just those errors, they're just so costly.
3 games of NRLW today. Tasha tomorrow. NRL 360 returns. Then the NRL season preview with Lara Pitt, Greg Alexander, Michael Ennis. It's straight after 360 tomorrow, so we are certainly warming up for the premiership kickoff on Thursday night. Penrith against the Manly Sea Eagles, round 1 of the NRL. Here we are, game 1 of round 2 NRLW, and the Brisbane Broncos, the 3-time premiers, in control for the time being. Brigginshaw plays it. Hasn't she been a star of this Brisbane outfit in the premiership reign? Ali Brigginshaw, the only Bronco to play every NRLW game so far. Aitken out for Turner, and Turner brings in Mosby.
And the Broncos are missing Julia Robinson out there, who's played just 1 game short of the legendary Ali Brigginshaw.
Have a host of players who've been there for the bulk of the time, so Kelvin Wright enjoying stability in his squad. Of course, this Newcastle team dragged together for their NRLW debut campaign, but plenty of them will know each other. You go through their backgrounds, they've played a lot of rep football or Tarsha Gale Rugby League. So the Knights through Tillett, just short of halfway, 5 minutes gone in the second half. Kira Dibb straightens, threatens to go through before Amber Hall says, come here. Let's hope Kira can keep the injuries at bay as it's put down by Arakua.
I'm not sure what Arakua has to do. That's, I think, at least 3 errors that we've seen. We know that they're all costly. The team is rallying around her saying, don't worry, mate, don't worry. But once there's 3, it's hard to get it out of your head.
Her numbers, 4 runs for more than 60 metres, a couple of tackle busts, offload, line break assist, but you're right, the 3 errors. Just putting up a lot in that otherwise impressive stats line. Mosby. She's tackled by Frazzard, and it's a tackle that gets the result. So Newcastle will come up with good ball here.
Pleased to see that from the Knights. You saw that they shared the defensive work around the teams with 3 of their players, each racking up 12 tackles each. That's Daly, Nuasala and Page. Nuasala also topping the run meters for the Knights in the first half. Let's see what the Newcastle Knights can do with this centre field scrum.
Perfectly positioned, they explore on the left-hand edge first with Bobby Law. 15 carries last week, 110 run metres.
Just as we mentioned Nuasala, she's about to hit the field again.
That carry from Georgia Page. Manzelman sends it the same way through Dibb. Tellett jumping away from Aitken's attempted defence and into the clutches of other defenders led by Hayley Maddock. The debutant out of dummy half down the short side for Teitzel. And Romy's handled by Mosby and Aitken. Kalula Tillett on for Dibb. The big left foot step into the clutches of Harden. Now Tillett, the cutout pass. Quick hands in front of Vahakolo. And it breaks down. There was pressure on Frazard, and she couldn't make it work the way she wanted to.
Yeah, the Broncos' defence, you can see how they're all back there. It's a very thick line in defence, and that's happening because they're holding the tackle player down just long enough to get back on side. And this pass here just missed.
Well, Hajija Mosby, the Brisbane winger, made her defensive decision. She'd left her winger unmanned, but went up quickly on Frazard, got the result.
Experienced play there for the Broncos.
Emily Bass. 2 tries last week for the Brisbane winger. Here's Sarah South here.
We talk about the experience of the Broncos, but 3 out of their 4 tries last week were by debutants, less established players. Emily Bass racking up 2 of them.
Upton's pass was only just taken, but the kick makes the set complete, and Newcastle under pressure, only just clean it up. Katie Green was left elevated and exposed, pushed backwards into her own 20. And a bigger problem for Newcastle is that Millie Boyle and Chelsea Lenarduzzi are back onto the field. The starting front rowers who did so much damage early on.
Yeah, Chelsea Lenarduzzi, we know her as the offload queen. They're focused on trying to shut that down. She still got away with a couple of offloads in the first half. Talisha Harden looks to be a bit of a poke in the eye there. She's a tough one.
Plenty of purpose in the run from Caitlin Vahakolo. Unlucky not to score a try for Newcastle in the first half, but then showing immediate concern for Harden. And you can see there in replay just a stray finger in the eye. You're right, Tasha.
Vahakolo, very fast player. If we see her in some space, we'll see that pace, but I'm not sure if the Broncos defence are going to give her any room to move today.
The stat we touched on earlier on, this is their 14th NRLW game, Brisbane. In the first 13, they've won 12. And of those 12, they've won 11 by double figures. No wonder they're the 3-time premiers. And impressive starters last week as 20-4 winners against the Roosters, who are up next against the Gold Coast Titans.
And Matt, just speaking of the Broncos as we have, the forward pack, the back line, I don't know which is more devastating.
The NRL Grand Final, Brisbane will hope to be part of that. Heading to Redcliffe, Sunday, April 10. You can be there to witness the best women's rugby league. You'll see nrl.com/tickets. Get to Redcliffe, watch the Grand Final. The Broncos might just be playing on home turf in that one.
We just saw an unfortunate offload just go down, not meet its mark. And the Knights are back defending.
The first half had a shaky start. The second half has been similar to that. Now Emily Bass bringing Brisbane forward. Next weekend, the Broncos are off to Combank Stadium, Parramatta, to play the Dragons. And the Dragons finish our offering today against Parramatta, game 3, completing the second round. Here's a run, a great run. Shanae Szolka finds Upton, then she backs up. Szolka and Upton, they combined in the first half They've done it in the second, and each time they've taken it in turns to score. Upton, Zazulka attacking brilliance.
The Broncos do that. They break the line, and then there's always someone backing up. They've always got their options there. Great run here by Zazulka. Finds Upton. Upton does the old 1-2 back into Zazulka, who started that move, and she's over for 4 points.
So Upton giving it to Zazulka to score after Zazulka gave it to Tamika to score in the first half. And Shanae Zazulka, an athletic star, rugby 7 star, a touch football star, now doing it in NRLW. But given that she's also been a gymnastics star, I was waiting for the round-off backflip celebration, Tasha. Where's the complete deal?
Well, it's a little bit disappointing that no after-try celebration, but she really could have, because that was all Zazulka. Great moves there, and of course Upton always backing up. But what we saw earlier, just in the lead up to that play, that allowed that sort of space and time to run was a great offload. Not sure who it was, but just in the lead up to that we saw the great offload. And as we know, Matt, offloads lead to tries.
Lauren Brown, perfect today, above the kicking tee. Darcy sideline.
Well, that combination between Shanae Zazulka and Tamika Upton is sure-firing. Now, I can tell you, Shanae Zazulka, her teammates certainly hold her in high regard. It was actually Millie Boyle and Talisha Harden that recruited her to the Broncos, so I'm sure they're tapping themselves on the back thinking we did good here.
Yeah, the 24-year-old. She had 3 tackle busts last week and a try assist. Well, she's had a try assist today and one of her own as well. Brisbane Bolt clear 18-0. And that offload, as Darcy was speaking, just underlining your point. So much second phase opportunities coming for the Broncos.
Amber Hall. Yes, it was Amber Hall with that offload.
And here comes Boyle back at the halfback, Tallulah Tillett.
Open square. Give us space. 1.
Aiken to Mosby. I'd like to see Hajija get away and see her speed as well.
She's had a few solid runs. No errors.
Leonard Dootsy, no offload this time. Across the ground, it's Brown for the Broncos.
And Brown had a bit of trouble with the boot, just 50% last week, missed the 2 on the right-hand side, and this time, today, she's worked on that, and she's converted both from the right-hand side.
Yeah, to be perfect, 3 from 3. Brown, Aiken, showing it on the inside, but going long to Mosby. In fact, it's Turner, now Mosby. Mosby trying to skirt the defence, instead she's forced into touch. The debutant, maybe showing just a little inexperience there.
Well, it's the Harbour Bridge pass that went loopy over, allowed the Newcastle defence to move up, even though there was a dummy inside and then showed to the outside. The Knights were all over it, and there was really no room for her to move. There's the Harbour Bridge pass, dummy outside, inside, and the defence are on it.
Yeah, Frezard there, lending her weight to the defensive argument. Maitua Federica about to return, along with Crystal Rota, both of them very experienced NRLW players, now wearing Newcastle jumpers. Crystal Rota didn't run the ball in the first half. Would you like to see Crystal just asking some questions of the defence at times?
Oh, look, I love watching Crystal Rota play.
Yeah. I thought you put it into her rather than her. Yeah, but I thought that you put it into her.
Look at Jamie Fressard. No, you got that wrong. I would never do that. I would never put it into her.
And then listen to Casey Badger explaining, well, I thought you did this way. I'm not going to change my decision because last time I checked, no referee had.
No, you can argue as much as you want, but they're never going to say, oh, yeah, OK, I think you're right. Well, I'll go back on that decision.
Here are the Titans warming up, getting ready to play the Roosters next. Beaten last week 20-12, and look at this for the Brisbane Broncos. The debutante has gone in. Hajija Mosby, the 21-year-old, in her first NRLW outing. What a moment. Called in for Julia Robinson, but not missing a beat with Hajija Mosby.
And here we see it's from a centre field scrum. It's just simple footy. drawing the players, digging in deep there enough to commit your winger from the Newcastle Knights. And it's another try by a debutant for the Broncos.
Yeah, a great day for the club and their newcomers. Didn't see a lot of her earlier on as she eased her way into it, but Ajija Mosby. So it tries to Millie Boyle, to Mika Upton, Shanae Sazolka, and now Ajija Mosby.
Well, that's just it, Matt. I mean, it's great ball control. They all know where they are. The great pass selection. Digging just enough into that line to commit, and Mosby's over. And I tell you what, you've got established players like Boyle and Upton that have gone over today. But what do you do when you try and control them, and then you have a rookie out there on the wing that they managed to get it to? It's just superb play by the Broncos.
Well, wanting to do it and being able to do it are two different things, as we see the first miss of the afternoon from Lauren Brown. But having called the first NRLW and watching last week's round one, I was startled, is probably the right word, at the way they were able to play given their lack of footy in recent months, recent years in fact. Why has NRLW improved so dramatically in such a short space of time?
Well, you're quite right, Matt, that they were 8 months without a game of footy. So going into that, I was a bit concerned that we weren't going to see the quality, but the professionalism of these athletes, even though they're not full-time professionals, and imagine what they could bring if they were full-time professionals.
Yes, it's a testament to their clubs, their coaches and themselves as the Roosters go through their preparations. Next up, Roosters Titans, as Millie Boyle surveys the defensive line and again angles her run towards the Newcastle half to Lula Tillis, assisted by Frazard.
Millie Boyle had a little cut under the chin last week. She's certainly not bothered by that. She wasn't at the time as the blood was pouring out, and she's certainly not worried about the way she's running up with that ball with aggression today.
Which just shows the physicality that stood out last week as well. Boyle again. We'll watch these run meters climb. She might set new benchmarks for an NRLW forward in back-to-back weeks. Aitken onto Talisha Harden, who's looking to offload the ball, but Frazard again under the rib cage and driving Harden towards the sideline. Jamie Frazard standing out defensively for the Knights. Brigginshaw gets the kick away. Puts it high, almost on the spot. It's knocked backwards by Newcastle. Is that coming from an offside position? Play on is the ruling. And the Knights, through Autumn Rain Stevens, come up with the ball.
You mentioned Autumn Rain being aptly named. She was actually born on a dry winter's day.
That's interesting. Dry winter doesn't quite have the ring as Autumn Rain. Oh, Rogers put it down. The pass was a little wild, in front of her, above her, and she drops it.
Throughout her playing career, I've seen Crystal pick up. She normally wouldn't put that down with what I was going to say, but it was a bit higher than what it looked on the first replay there.
So Brown has a breather, a 38-year-old Lavinia Gould, who has an extensive rugby league background. Good to see her back. Didn't play last week for Brisbane, off the bench today. Maybe for the final 16 minutes here, Lavinia Gould on for the Broncos.
38 years young, Lavinia.
That's what I should have said. Millie Boyle has it. Watch her go there in jumper 17. Welcome back, Lavinia. Go well through NRLW 21, as we're calling it. It's last year's competition, played early in 2022. We'll be back with another one at the back end of this year. Here's Mosby after a double on debut. Straight into Crystal Rorta and Caitlin Vaha-Kolo.
Stand up now, look for me. Another step here, mature. Go, oh, you're good.
Gould hits Aitken, on to Brigginshaw. Boyle is the dummy runner. Lenarduzzi straightens into the Knights. Federica's on there. Brigginshaw. Quick hands from Upton. It had to be. She was under pressure, but the ball will go to Newcastle.
And it was Katie Green and her centre there that really shot up quickly to put pressure on that ball and cause the error.
A couple of fends from Teitzel.
Chelsea, release to me.
Teitzel's having a strong game. She's captain of the new team, Newcastle Knights, and I believe she's the youngest captain in the NRLW at 23 years of age.
She was the inaugural try scorer for the Newcastle Knights last week. There are the run meters. Last week, Millie Boyle 179. Her next run should take her past that record by an NRLW forward. Amber Hall past the ton as well. Chelsea Lenarduzzi chasing hard. It's Teitzel leading the run meters for Newcastle. An offload for Rota. Rota goes to the line. Her pass high in front of Federica, who gets the ball away, looking for Tillett. Picked up. Back to the halfback, who's knocked it on.
So number 17, late contact.
Lavinia Gould penalised here. Late contact earlier in the play.
Well, that's a lucky break for the Knights. You saw that they were just desperately trying to keep that ball alive. And even in these wet conditions, the Knights have to take those chances now. They can't let the clock run away. It's 22-0.
Reading the mind of Coach Kelvin right at Brisbane. We're leading 22-0. We won't get beaten, but let's keep our line intact. Crystal Rota. Can Newcastle breach the Broncos' goal line? Here's their best chance of the half. Rota sits it up, and on the charge, they'll get to ground here. And who else but the forward called in today, Maitua Federica, an experienced NRLW player. It's her third try in this competition, but her first of this season.
And Matt, just leading into that, I was just saying or thinking to myself, they need a strong run from a forward here. And there we have Crystal Rota with her fellow countrywoman, Federica, steaming onto the ball. It's almost a no-look pass here. They've played that much high standard football together, and I'm so pleased to see that combination pay off and end up with Federica scoring a try today, cracking the zero for the Knights. Hopefully that'll give them confidence.
She was a former Bronco.
And then we see an after-try celebration there. I think
now, there's a story about this that I might get Darcy McDonald to expand on in a moment after the conversion, because I know Darcy knows this social media handshake story very well. But for the time being, look at Chante Poco there as the decoy runner angling towards the post, just dragging the defence with her. As a result, it opens for Maitua Federica, who played with the Broncos in 2018, the Dragons in 2019. She returned to New Zealand as COVID descended. Here's Chante Poco poking it over, so it's 22-6. Maitua Federica. Darcy, you better tell us all about her handshake phenomenal Instagram post.
Yes, well, I can tell you beforehand, the entire Knights bench cheered and got up off their seats when they saw Maitua Federica go over. And you touched on it, Maddie, that's because she has an individual handshake for every single Knights teammate. The reason for that is that she sees a different bond with each teammate, so she thinks, why not have a different handshake for every single teammate? She's also been appointed the CEO, Chief Energy Officer, and I can tell you earlier when she was on the bench, she was grooving along to the music here.
All the moves, and as the team lines up, she does the handshake with each one, different handshake with each, without missing a beat. How she remembers it is absolutely beyond me.
Great footy and great entertainer.
Georgia Page has been entertaining. Jamie Frazzard, good as well. She had the most recent carry. I've liked her defensive work, and unfortunately for the Knights, they've had to do plenty of it this afternoon. Federica gets, in fact, it's Poco getting the ball away.
Nice little dummy there, and then pass. Stevens did well to hang on to that one, though.
Doubled forward, now it's knocked on, so Brisbane will get the ball, maybe not for the reason they should have.
Wouldn't you love, Matt, the next try scorer to be from one of the Knights? You just love that. Get a game on.
Well, 11 and a half minutes to play. 22-12. Good set up the back end of this game. But Brisbane have the ball. And plenty of dangerous plays in this back line. Aiken dummying, going to the line, getting the ball for Turner. And she's pulled down by Vaha Colo.
Great run by Aiken there, but great backup by Turner.
Here's Upton. Fighting a way forward. Rota eventually forcing her to ground, but straight away, 2 tackles down, right on the attack, Brisbane. Just looking to put that dream of a Newcastle comeback out of the Knights' minds.
Melbourne Boyle still racking up some metres for a team.
Going past last week's number of 179 with that carry, Upton. It was off Newcastle, picked up, and that will stay with the Broncos. Shanae Sazalka playing the ball. Here's Bass. Taken in an awkward tackle, twisting around. She back to her feet fine. And shooting out of dummy half with her eyes on the goal line. Amber Hall just short. Gould hurries into dummy half. Goes long, Brigginshaw, a beautiful pass. Brigginshaw runs in behind Boyle and has to surrender for fear of being penalised. Now the strip from Crystal Rota. That's okay. Good experience from Rota. Just because Brigginshaw had stopped doesn't mean that Crystal Rota needed to.
And just because Brigginshaw is the master of rugby league doesn't mean we can't take that footy off her.
The 2020 Dalian medalist, Ali Brigginshaw. Here's Bobby Law. I like the look of Bobby last week, as well hasn't seen the amount of opportunities this week as they come nice and direct. That's a bumping run. Gould was disposed of, and Federica even got the ball away. Now Law. And the kick down the field for Upton. She gets away from Tillett. Still going. Upton, Tamika Upton with only her opposite to beat. Now she passes the ball. Still going Brisbane. And it's Hayley Maddock pulled the ground. Great counter. Sparked by Tamika Upton. You cannot take your eyes off Tamika. Long from Brigginshaw. Here's Aiken. Harden in support, and she's rocked a big shot from Federica. Ball and all. Great contacts. Now Boyle. Brigginshaw across the ground, calling for Hall underneath. She tried the steamroller approach, but that's good defence from the Knights. Brigginshaw. Now Gould. This is Murdoch.
Stay on the mark, release.
Norsala having some good minutes out there as well defensively. Aiken pulls up. As Harden gets in the way, Upton needs an option, and it's straight into the clutches of Rota. Aiken, a grubber, and it sits up nicely for Tillett. So Newcastle do well after a set that started with such promise on the back of Tamika Upton's counter-attack.
Absolutely well defended there by the Knights. I know I've said it several times this game, but they just keep coming up with the goods and defending that line when really... And now they've got a line break.
Frazard it is. Up the field, still going, racing away. Jamie Frazard, the Newcastle centre, chased by Sazalka, but Frazard, after so much defensive work, gives us an attacking highlight. Richly deserved. Jamie Frazard races the length and gets a second try. 7 minutes to play, 2 converted tries the difference.
We did say we need Knights to score next. We didn't think it was possible, but Jamie Frazard, a live wire here. As she breaks the line there, she's done this all by herself. She had back up there with Green to pass. She dummies. And let's not forget, these people chasing her, as she starts to climb a few stairs just before putting that down, these people chasing her, you know, they're not slow players, Matt. So she's done an outstanding pace she's shown there, with the little legs pumping. Nice little dummy. Gets Upton wrong-footed as she falls for that dummy, and the chase is on, but Jamie just willing herself over that line there, showing the pace, and oh, she's going to love that.
Aiken's dive, a desperate dive, came a little early then. Sazalka, the athletic star, previously, was mowing Frazard down, but she willed away to the line.
She sure did. She's a great little player, Jamie Frazard. Very excitable, always pumped for these games, and it's good to see her rack up a try.
8 runs, 136 metres, 3 tackle busts for Jamie. 13 tackles, just the 1 miss. So certainly providing for the Knights as Shante Poko misses the conversion and admonishes herself. That was a big kick to get it back to 10. Almost 6 minutes left. They need another quick try as we look at Jamie Frazard again. Bolt away and hold off the cover just.
And that was Taryn Aiken making a desperate dive at her feet there. And right, yeah, Suzolka had her as far as pace goes, but fortunately the try line came up before Suzolka could bring her down.
Arakua liked it on the Newcastle bench. You can see Kira Dibb applauding the effort as well. A popular try, Jamie Frazard. It's her first in this competition. Game number 5 for Jamie. She played for the Broncos, so both former Broncos scoring against Brisbane now. Speak of Federica and Frazard. There's Teitzel taking what turned out to be another tricky kickoff.
Absolutely, and Teitzel, we said the youngest captain at 23 years of age, has really led by example in both last week's game and this week. She ran onto that ball. Don't let the ball bounce off the kickoff.
I've liked the work of Netta Nuasala in the past 10 minutes or so. Big involvement and sparking the Knights. There she's again looking for more work. The number 10, the starting front rower. There and Shante Poko, who jumps into dummy half. Trying to score this try. We do go to Golden Point. Could Newcastle score a couple of converted tries late here? And the Broncos look to be tiring. Page pulled down, and they run on the last and will turn it over now.
You mentioned Nuasala. She had an amazing first half, topping the tackles and the run meters for the Newcastle Knights.
Brother Frank Paul playing with the Roosters and the Raiders now. Netta Nuasala trying to lift the Knights here. Turner.
And we're down, Matt, now into that final 5 minutes. What we call extended 5 minutes, because they're going to 35-minute halves for the first time this year. And you can see just how physical the game's been. Just see if the fatigue creeps into the Knights. I cannot see it. If anything, I'm seeing more fatigue in the Broncos.
Well, here's a result for Newcastle. Ali Brigginshaw putting it down. The experience, the captain, the leader of this Brisbane team, round about halfway, so more opportunity for the Knights.
Yeah, good tackle there by Katie Green. She's had a great game. She's always been very committed, really strong in defence.
Newcastle on the decision of a double knock-on, that the first touch was from Newcastle before Brisbane knock-on.
So a captain's challenge in play
Newcastle
here.
are challenging the decision of a double knock-on, first off them.
So the original ruling, the ruling on field, is that it's knocked on by Newcastle first. And that appears to be the case. Katie Green, she knocked the ball here, Tasha, back into Ali Brigginshaw, which would be knock on Newcastle, then knock on Brisbane. So Broncos keep the ball.
Yes, it would appear to be that's the way that it's come down. Katie wasn't making a play at that ball. She was going around to tackle Ali Brigginshaw, but quite correct. She's hit the ball into Ali.
Yeah, I don't think it has.
So there's the result. Challenge unsuccessful. The Knights rolling the dice there, hoping that it hadn't been knocked on by Katie Green. Inside the final 4 minutes, Newcastle lose their challenge. Probably a good time to roll with it there and keep your fingers crossed and hope for a miracle. They didn't get it. And as a result, Aitken and the Broncos can work the clock. Here's Turner hitting a hole. Turner still going. Amy Turner sets the sights for the in goal and gets there and scores. Amy Turner. Great speed, great determination, and a great match winner, a sealer for the Broncos.
Great to see Amy Turner go over for a try. She's 37 years of age. She played all 70 minutes last week. And it's set up here by Aiken, but she runs that great inside line, shrugs off Tillett, misses the tackle, and the last ditch effort from the Knights to try and bring her down, but I think she lands over her back and still manages to place this ball down underneath the post. Here's the desperation in the Knights' defence. Katie Green again, and look at that great arm coming over and planting that ball. What do the Knights have to do to stop this sort of stuff?
Fantastic action from the NRL Women's Premiership. Amy Turner determined to score. Georgia Page and Katie Green just as determined to stop her. There was Page grabbing the shorts and then trying to drag her down, assisted by Green, but Turner wins the play and Brisbane will win the game. Out of question now inside the final 3 minutes, but don't worry, there's still 2 more games to come. Brown steers 2 more points through. She's had a very solid day on the kicking tee. It's 28-10, Roosters Titans to follow this one. And then the home team, if you like, in Wollongong. St George Illawarra against Parramatta. The Dragons winning last week for Jamie Soward. Parramatta winning on debut with Maddie Studden's field goal. Brilliant poise from Maddie.
An absolute cracker of a finish to that game there. It was Maddie Studden going over the field goal, first one in NRLW, looking so poised and so in control as she did it.
There's the ball knocked backwards by Aiken. Picked up, and look at this return from Murdoch. Roxy Murdoch.
I tell you what, Matt, 28-10 seems like a bit of a blowout, but I have to commend the Newcastle Knights on their intensity in defence.
We've had to do a bit of it as Crystal Rorta gets up holding an elbow. Both these teams were affected by injuries out of round 1. Had to make some minor changes, but Brisbane roll on. And Brown takes some easy meters. Brown playing the ball. It's with Aiken now. A flamboyant dummy that fooled one defender, which took a few more meters before Frazzard put a stop to that. Tamika Upton giving us a couple of great moments today. And now the kick from Brown. A wobbly one. Down for Caitlin Vaha-Kolo. Then the defence arrives. So Brisbane, the 3-time champions, successful last week against the Roosters, 20-4. There'll be another double-figure winning margin for them, leading 28-10. 1 minute to play. Their try scorers today, Boyle, Upton, Fazolka, Mosby and Turner. Interrupted only by those 2 tries to Federica and Frazzard that breathed a bit of life back into this contest late. But it's Brisbane steadying and looking towards round 3 next week against the Dragons at CommBank Stadium. You'll see that next Sunday on Fox League as part of the opening round to the NRL season. So plenty of footy coming your way on Fox League. Just leave it parked there for the next 8 months. That'll do. Upton under the kick. Taking the ball safely. She's wrapped up by Autumn Rain.
Pretty sure that's not quite what Tillett was hoping for. She wanted to kick that ball deeper into the left-hand side. Not really centre field there, where it was easily collected by Upton.
Bass. Kelvin Wright, the Brisbane coach, will know that his team hasn't been perfect, but more great signs as the last carry goes to Amber Hall. Very good again today in conjunction with the rest of the Brisbane pack in the back line. There are some attacking phenomenons, the likes of Tamika Upton, Amy Turner, Zazolka, Aiken, Brigginshaw, and that star-studded lineup has done it again. In this season, the Broncos are again 2 from 2. They've beaten Newcastle 28-10.